money here to learn things that are 50 years old. I'm coming from the future, as many of us are, and so we have to stay open to learn. I've learned so many things in Tico School and the School of Life, but then what they were teaching in agroforestry school at that time was monocultures. And now those same 50-year-old foresters are coming in and going, oh, we really messed it up. So we don't do that anymore. Nobody's doing it anymore, not even the Ticos. So we are progressing. We are. And we're seeing...
I'm going to start this recorder and ask you to
Yes.
hold it. So we're here with Tree Jenny at Grace 2, and she's already told us some lessons that the cacao does not do so great at this elevation, and that Pehibai does grow really well here.
Yes.
And that we're moving away from monocultures, but that Cedro Madero might grow here.
Cedro Maria will grow great here. They're growing great next door. The Guapinol is
Why
growing.
would you grow the Cedro Maria?
I'm also recording as
Good
well.
lumber. It's a Vega. It's construction grade for beams, and it's amazing animal food. So when I look at planting a farm out, I listen to you guys, and that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to listen to what your dreams are, and then I overlay my experience on top of your dreams. And along rivers and water streams, we want to put a lot of food for animals because that's where they're going to move. And this farm next door to y'all has amazing nacientes. Now this farm, probably the nacientes, as Rodrigo told me, are still somewhat covered, but their buffer zone is not actually wide enough. So the law is, which is based on nature and studies, 7 acres around a naciente is what the 100 meters around a naciente equals. That's not supposed to be touched. That was never respected. The Costa Ricans left a little trees over a naciente, but not nearly enough.
What's an haciente?
Water spring. That's where the good, potable, clean water comes from.
And you're planting how far away from it?
You're planting, you want 7 acres around a spring covered with trees so it won't
With
dry
trees.
out with trees.
Oh.
Trees pull the water in.
And
Oh.
push it down through their roots. You
Okay.
can come to Kids Day,
See-
and these
see, I was-
10-year-old kids are going to school. They're like, yeah, and this happens, and that happens, and then that happens, and then they make the cloud, and then they, I'm just like, brainwashing is, how does the hydrological cycle work? Has everything to do with the trees. The rain and the clouds come from the trees. Some comes from the ocean, but the ocean's hot. It's carbon, all-you-can-eat buffet. They're full. They're like, I can't eat another bite. The plankton are done. They're like, help. The only thing we can help is to reforest our mountains. And this hot skillet, when it's deforested, the water just skittles off. Because what would send the water down into your reservoir of drinking water?
Roots.
Roots. So if there are no trees, it's just hitting the land. It's skittling up in a hot vapor cloud, like attracts like. Those hot clouds band together. They do not freeze in the thermohaline currents that wrap around the planet. And that's how the water, the rain, travels around the globe in these very strong currents that only exist around the equator, tropical zones, both in the air and in the ocean. So these currents are running the global climate, and they're messed up because of deforestation, period. We fix deforestation, we fix climate problems, not the earth is the earth. I'm not here to save anything. I have no feeling that I can make a difference in that sense. It is what it is. This earth has been here and it will be here. We are the ones that have to survive. So what do we need? We need better rain cycles. We need predictable cycles. We need water to drink. And so this covering that water spring assures that that water spring isn't evaporating like a hot skillet. Because what happens when the skillet is hot and you throw the water on it? What happens?
Buy water.
Gone.
Yeah.
Unstable clouds. What happens when a skillet is cool and water lands on it? It sits there. If there's a tree present, roots go down. So as we look at things, they did get concessions. So if you need like contact to get concessions and those kinds of things, they worked with a company. I'm not totally sure how much they love them. I have a guy in the Mooney in Cortez. You're in the Mooney in Pettis Celadon.
And when you say concessions, what are you referring to?
Well, there's a lot of controversy about the concessions and whether to get it or not. I mean, I love just noble silence. Like, what water? I'm not telling the government that I have water. I'm one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But to build, you need stamp with water. There's no aqueduct here.
Mm.
So you're going to have to get a concession on at least one naciente to be able to get stamps to build with permits. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it it's just part of the process, and it does take 7 months or so, and they come out and so that's something you have to deal with. And you're not supposed to build within, depending on the slope of the land, 40 degrees is always our magic number. Whether it's a landslide or anything, 40 degrees is where things find their natural slope.
So would you go steeper than 40 or no?
At 40 degrees, you have to respect at less steep, less of a grade than 40, you have to respect 15 meters from that spring, which isn't that far back. So you can push yourself on up against it in a way. Actually, sorry, that's for quebradas, that's for rivers, not the naciente. The naciente, because I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. The naciente is 100 meters, period. You cannot, I've got people that tried to hire me to green glove a situation within, nope, because they registered their naciente, somebody else did. Which is, as we're talking about whether you're going to register it or not, that's why I'm getting into all this legal, because this is where people mess up, because they don't get good advice, and they don't get it from people who have been in that process. So they're like, yeah, go get a concession, and then they find out, oh my God, I can't build where I wanted to. So choosing which concession to get, where the springs are. Rodrigo will know where these springs are, and it's worth asking him to come out and go and show me them.
We know where the springs are.
You
right?
do?
Yeah, I believe so. Travis had
Okay.
showed us where they were, right?
Well,
I
we
think
have them on a
Phoenix-
map, but it's not marked well on this map. I would have someone who actually has been to them
Yeah, maps
before
don't
come
impress
and
me
do
a
it.
bit. I'm
Yeah,
like,
this
who
is-
fucking cares?
No, this
Sorry,
is just orientation.
or
wise.
I want to
Yeah.
see it on the land.
Yeah.
I want to go, it's there, and then
No,
look what's
yeah.
around it.
Absolutely.
But, because the map means nothing to me.
I know there's a spring like right up here somewhere,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Where
I
it's
know
been
there's a lot
pointed
of
to me
water
before
here.
is down there.
And
Yeah, I
the
think there's
ones
some
down
down
at
there, I
the
think.
bottom, you're not going to want to build down there anyway,
How do you know there's a lot of water here?
because this is Ojo de Agua, and it's known
It
to
means
have
eye of
a
water.
lot of water. So that's a good
Underneath the ground or in rivers?
reservoirs.
Reservoirs,
It's bubbling out a lot. And it's the top of the watershed. So y'all have a very privileged and honorary space as headwaters. I mean, some of these streams are actually headwaters dripping into the Morete and lower rivers as it gets bigger. So the water is born up here. There's nothing higher than here. You're at the top.
Yeah.
So all of that comes with great responsibility, and it's a privilege, and the water's here. Whereas, there are farms I go to and I'm like, oh my God, wow, we should have talked to somebody before you bought it, because there's no water here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there is. I'm like, that's not really water. So there's water up here, and this concept of knowing that you're gonna have to concession at least one of them to get your building permits, And then which one do you concession? You know, building water systems. We always want gravity feed if we can get it.
Yeah.
But there are arietes that can pull water if there's a 12-foot drop.
Mm-hmm.
Ram pump.
And we have one in our tree nursery in La Reina, and a Tico built it, and we've had it for 15 years, and it works fantastic, and it never stops. It's perpetual motion. So you can set up, and on those situations, you know, you want good, knowledgeable Tico people setting that up. Not the fancy, you know, Tico Rodrigo is going to be your man.
And he's the guy that owns this.
He's the guy who sold you this.
Okay.
I'm sure he got a pile of money. Bug him. Be like, Rodrigo, do you know somebody in the zone, in the area, who can help us pull our water up from an hacienda?
Mm.
You know, because if they're down there, that's, you know, the first thing you got to have is water to live, right? And why I'm talking about Rodrigo and the area is this. You need to get you some allies up here, y'all. They stole all the brand new alambre off the fence that Derek and Heather built. My guys,
We don't know what that is.
barbed wire.
Who's they?
Whoever they are in the community who are the robbers, and they're here. This is
Yeah,
no
they already
man's
stole our
land.
chairs from out at the tent.
Yeah, they stole my boys, lived up here when they planted the trees. They rented a house, and it took about 10 to 12 days to plant those 1,000 trees. And plus we built the fence and opened up some pastures that were already there, just you know, they were like up to here, and they just kind of said, okay, you've got a pasture here. You've got and the water guy was here. We had to make trails. There's trails all through this beautiful land. And yeah, they got everything stolen. Everything out of the house.
Yeah, we're hoping to have somebody, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have you here, is to be able to get this project started and have somebody here on a regular basis. So that's a big undertaking right now, unless they're ready and willing to have, you know, bring their own water in and that kind of stuff. But that's part of the fun part of being a pioneer.
You know, it is.
you know?
It's, I mean, we've all been there at some point. At least I have, and those are valuable memories and experiences in my world. You know, rationing the water, taking a shower in a catch system, not having electricity. I mean, I cherish those moments. So it can be a lot of fun. It can be challenging, but you really get to know yourself and how lucky and privileged we are. But you want some people from this community working with you, because they become your allies and they keep the people away. So we came in with an outside crew, because I work with my crew, because they're trained. It is what it is. We were the first gringos up here in that way, and it was what it was. So, you know, it's good that I know this, because I want you to work with your farm owner, seller, make that bridge, and ask him, who are the good people? Who should you hire to do basic shopping? You hire one good family from that community and everything changes. It's the best piece of advice I can give you today. You're not in. You're pioneering up here, which I think is so fun and good. But yeah, and I can talk to Rodrigo too, and be like, "Hey, Rigo, oh my gosh,
You're not gonna
look at
believe
the
this."
synchronicity!" And I already told my
definitely
friend
do that.
Yes, please.
Heather,
Yeah.
you know, and I sent her a video. I'm like, "Look at the road, how good!" I mean, we used to have to walk down that road. You couldn't drive in,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So let's see, you know, who
Collaboration.
they recommend and what Rodrigo says, and you know, because getting somebody in here with you is really important.
Mm-hmm.
It'll keep you from getting your chair stolen. So that's my my arrival. The biggest thing I wanted to, before we get too much into me listening to y'all, was to say your water is your number one thing.
What did you call it again? The
Naciente,
no, the eye of the
the
Ojo de
concession.
Agua is the name of the town.
Ojo de agua means eye of water.
Ojo.
And an
de-
ojo of agua is when the water's shooting out from the mountain.
Wow.
It's like a, just so, yeah. And this community up here, you know, you never want a bad apple, a good community, you know, but there's little gangs in every community. I'll say something else. This has traditionally been a pot growing area.
Mm.
Marijuana grows great up here. We think this farm was a marijuana farm.
Mm.
Next door.
There's some telltale, interesting pastures hidden, this and that. There's water that can gravity feed right to the pastures. So again, the water dictates where you're gonna put things. We can have our dreams, but the easiest naciente to get up from is where, you know, you want your food garden, and where you want to maybe think about, and I'll listen, you know, but you want to think about some of your buildings and things being far enough away to get the permit, close enough to not have to pump too far, gravity if possible, because then you can gravity into a tank and then just have one pump to go up, and they do make solar pumps.
Wow.
So you
Okay.
can solar pump from a tank, because you want to be off grid.
Yeah.
And those pumps are a little more expensive. I have a water guy that does solar pumps. His name is Aiden. His kid is Jorah, who's so brilliant and bright.
Don't we have a solar pump? A Grace one or no?
No.
No,
It's not on solar.
not yet.
That's
Okay.
why we have to turn it on and off.
Oh yeah.
And that works for now. You put the gas in, you hook, you know, chop wood, carry water. That's where, you know, Zen comes.
Exactly.
You're in Zen training. So yeah. Yeah, but all this water stuff as beginning, you know, giving yourself time to suss that out and really seeking. Rodrigo's, he knows this land. He's gonna know if there is a naciente that's strong enough to feed a community, and which one would be the one to pump from, the least expensive.
We will
Okay.
ask him.
Naciente Spring, right?
Spring.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Naciente means birth, where the water's born.
And I can liaison with him a little if y'all end up being like, oh my God, Jenny, we don't speak Spanish. Does anyone speak? You do.
Yeah, and Chris.
Yeah.
And we got Freddie, our property manager. He's Tico, so he's
Great.
he knows a lot of
Nice.
people too.
Yeah,
That's
you
just
do
how we
want to
found
just
the
pull
place,
in
so.
somebody really good from this community, someone is going to be your ally, and you always need it. And, I'm going to let Heather and Derek know. You never know what, you know, what they're doing. And
So
going.
are they gringos over here?
They are gringos,
Okay.
but they're real Tico gringos. You know, they've been here for 25 years like I have.
And are these mostly like hardwood trees over here?
It's fruit and hardwood.
Okay.
There's targua on this land, and y'all will have some targua on your land, which is dragon's blood.
Oh,
And,
nice.
Sammy wants to do a business with the dragon's blood with our women's group. Tapping the trees and all that's a whole other process. It's a delicate process, but there's over 200 and something of them over here. So when I got there, I was like, that is what I think it is. That is what I think it is. That is what I think it is. That is what, these are targua trees. That's the dragon's blood.
You're seeing them right here.
1, 2,
Let's walk up and look at one.
3, right here.
The ones that sound like
You can
rain.
see, someone's already been tapping it.